Hi students, Mr. C here in the shop. I'd like to talk to you about where we left off. Last time we talked about was the different pieces that are hardwood for your face frame on your cabinet. Well, I have our straight grain pieces of lumber here, and this is enough to go ahead and make the face frame for that cabinet right there. Okay, so what I'd like to do is go ahead and show you how I want to cut these to make sure these are exactly at 90 degrees and the exact length for us to end up with a face frame that's appropriate for that upper cabinet that we have. I'm going to go ahead and place these over on this side of the fence. Well, I want to talk to you briefly about our setup here. Right now what we have is I have set the blade 1/8 of an inch above the material, so I can go ahead and set this down. But also, I did check to make sure that this miter gauge is 90 degrees to the blade, and I used this large triangle, which is kind of enormous. But I went ahead, I placed this against here, and I have no gap, which is great. So that means I will end up with exactly a 90-degree angle or square angle on the ends. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and cut my first piece. I just go ahead and I'm going to cut off just a little bit off one end. That way I can end up with that end cut square. And what I want to do is I want to hold this appropriately with the hand close where my hand's placement is proper. I'm going to turn on the saw. I'm going to run this all the way through. Now I'll slide this piece over. Now what I've done is I have a stop block here. This is the end I just cut at 90 degrees, so I know this one's cut perfectly. I'm going to flip this up. The blade has stopped, right? And I need this to be exactly 16 inches in length. So when I go ahead and set this here, and I see right next to the blade, it's right into 16, so it's going to cut it perfectly, okay? So now I have my stop block down. This is the end that I cut square. I'm going to take this and place this here. Hands in the appropriate place. Push this all the way through. Turn this off. Now I have this piece is exactly the 16 inches in length that I need for my cabinet. I'm going to wait for the blade is stopped. Now this end has been cut exactly 90 degrees. I'm going to place this here. I turn this on. I push it all the way through. Now I remain on this side because that small piece right there could become a flying projectile, which is something that we do not want to be in the way of. So now we have our other. I'm going to remove the scrap piece. Now I have my left and right side pieces. Now what I need to do is I need to cut my ends square. Just cutting off a little bit off the end to make sure this is 90 degrees. So I'm going to take the end that is square. I'm going to wait for the blade to stop. I'm going to place the square end down here. I'm going to grab this piece from my other side. So this is the bottom. That one was the top. Now remember, I just want to take enough material off just to make sure it's square. Now this piece is cut at 90 degrees. So we'll place this right with the other one. Now, I'm going to need to cut this piece exactly at 32 inches in length. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my square end. I'm going to lift the stop block on this side. I'm going to set this at 32 inches. So now it's set at 32, but I'm not going to cross cut this with the fence the way. I just set it to the exact width that I need, and I'll move this away. And now I know I have this set up, okay? So this piece now is cut to the exact size. Again, the blade is stopped now. I'm going to take the end that was cut square, place this over here, set it 32 inches. Now I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. Move the scrap piece out before I go ahead and turn it on. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. So now I have my top and bottom, my left and right pieces cut for the cabinet that's going to be the upper cabinet above the refrigerator. So now that I've done that, what I'd like to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark these. Basically, I'm going to draw a squiggly line across all the different surfaces of this piece of material and the other three. I'm going to sand these with the 80 grit all the way to 220 grit. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to show you how we're going to go ahead and put this all together as far as put the joints together. And we're going to use a new machine that we have here in the shop that I think that you guys would really, really like. So in the next part, you'll see that happen in here. But I will be sanding these in between so that way you can see exactly what I was talking about as far as the different surfaces in the sanding process. Okay, what I'm going to do is just do a quick clip in the very beginning of the next video. Then you'll see how I'm going to go ahead and arrange to put these parts together. Okay? All right. Till next time, I'm Mr. C in the shop. See you.